Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be taking a look at AI and how it can impact customer experience,
Yeah.
specifically for those of you out there with e-commerce businesses. And to help us break all this down, we're going to be taking a close look at Gorgias, an AI-powered platform that's making some pretty big promises about changing how you interact with your customers.
Well, it is interesting how they're trying to really kind of bridge the gap, between shopping online, which is very convenient, versus going into a physical store where you might get more of a personalized experience. And it looks like Gorgias is really focused on that. They're saying that buying online shouldn't feel impersonal or, like just another transaction.
Yeah, they keep mentioning speed, personalization, and accuracy. Like, that's the key to having good conversations with customers online these days. But the thing that really jumped out at me was their claim that their platform can just handle like up to 60% of customer support tasks,
Yeah.
like automatically.
Just imagine what that could do for your business. All those common questions that people have about shipping or returns or where their order is, all that being handled instantly. And then your team would be free to deal with the more complicated issues. Or, the ones that require a bit more of a human touch.
So the AI can handle all the routine stuff. But how does that actually work? Is it just like a fancy chatbot giving canned responses?
Well, not exactly. Gorgias has this thing they call a centralized communication approach. And the idea is that they want to bring everything together in one place, all your customer interactions, emails, chats, social media, even phone calls. So you're not constantly switching between a million different apps, trying to keep track of conversations. Oh, and they also integrate with like over 100 different apps, including big names like Shopify, Magento, and BigCommerce.
Right, so it's like having everything all in one place. Instead of having all these separate tools, I can definitely see how that would make things easier. But where does the AI actually come in?
Okay, so let's talk about how they use AI for automation. They're focusing on things that are, repetitive and rule-based, like answering those common e-commerce questions we were just talking about. You can think of it as training a digital assistant to handle the basic stuff, so your human team is freed up to do more strategic work.
All right, so they're saying AI can save businesses time and money. They've even got some pretty impressive numbers to back that up. They're saying their platform has helped businesses save like over 9 million hours, managing support and a crazy $323 million in annual support costs.
Yeah, those numbers are definitely eye-catching. But we always want to look beyond the hype and consider whether those savings are really achievable for businesses of all sizes. And, think about what potential downsides there might be.
Yeah, good point. It's easy to get excited about AI, but we need to be realistic too, make sure it's the right fit. And it looks like Gorgias isn't just about saving money. They're also saying their AI can actually help businesses increase revenue.
Yeah, that's where things get interesting. They call it AI-driven revenue generation. And their approach is basically to use personalized on-site campaigns to proactively engage with customers, offering pre-sale support and giving tailored recommendations.
So it's not just answering questions when they come up. It's like anticipating what customers need, almost like having an invisible sales assistant.
Exactly. They're saying these campaigns can increase conversions by up to 15%. And they're also talking about using discounts strategically to keep people from leaving your site and encourage engagement.
But how personalized can these interactions really be? Are we talking about truly understanding customer needs, or is it just like clever marketing dressed up as AI?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And how do they make sure that these personalized campaigns don't come off as pushy or annoying? Nobody wants to feel like they're being manipulated by an algorithm.
Exactly. Striking that balance between being helpful and being intrusive. That's going to be key.
Okay, so we've talked about how Gorgias uses AI for automation and for boosting revenue. But what about the overall customer experience? Are they just focused on efficiency and sales? Or do they actually care about customer satisfaction?
Well, they do talk about how important it is to maintain a human touch, even in AI-driven interactions. They say their AI understands and sticks to specific brand policies and customer preferences, and can even adjust its tone and language to match your brand's voice.
So they're saying it can sound like a real person, someone who gets my brand and my customers. But how do they make sure the AI doesn't say something that could hurt my brand's reputation?
Well, they have this AI-powered quality review process, which is supposed to ensure that customers are happy. It's like having a built-in editor to double-check every response. But of course, we need to dig a little deeper into how this actually works and whether it can really prevent those awkward or potentially brand-damaging AI slip-ups. Right, because even just one bad interaction can ruin a customer's whole experience, so they can personalize the AI's tone and language. But how does that actually work?
Well, that's where their integration with tools like Shopify Loop Returns and Recharge comes in. They're saying this allows for tailored responses specific to shipping returns, subscriptions, and order updates, using information pulled directly from those
So
platforms.
it's not just giving generic answers. It's about using real-time data to provide relevant information. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But how much customization is really possible? Can they really create an AI that feels like a natural part of my brand? Or is that just wishful thinking?
Well, that's what we need to figure out. They claim that their AI can be fine-tuned to match each brand's unique voice and processes, ensuring those interactions feel seamless and authentic. And they even offer hands-on support from their customer success team to help you get the most out of the platform.
That's good to hear. It shows they're not just throwing the technology at you and expecting you to figure it all out yourself. But before we get too carried away with all these claims, let's look at some real-world examples.
Well, they do highlight testimonials from brands like Psycho Bunny Shinesty and Baby Gold. They're all praising Gorgias and talking about the impact it's had on their businesses. And they claim to have seen a 36% increase in repeat purchases, a 52% reduction in resolution time, and a 26% reduction in ticket per order.
Those are some pretty impressive stats.
Yeah.
But we do have to remember that these are just a few selected examples. It would be great to see more data and research to back up these claims and to understand how typical these results are for the average e-commerce business.
Absolutely. And while those testimonials are compelling, they only tell part of the story. We need to dig deeper into the technology itself and think about the potential downsides. To get a more complete picture,
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive. We've looked at Gorgias' claims about AI-driven automation, personalized marketing, and how they emphasize those human-like interactions. But before we get too excited, we need to take a closer look at the technical details and separate the hype from the reality.
that's exactly what we'll be doing in the next part of our deep dive. We're going to break down Gorgias' approach to AI and examine whether their platform can really deliver on its promise to transform the customer experience. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's pick up where we left off and really peel back the layers here. See how Gorgias' AI actually works. They're making some pretty big claims, so it's time to, separate the marketing from the technology.
Yeah, we need to go beyond the surface here, understand what's happening under the hood. And one of the things that really stood out to me was their emphasis on actions, not just responses. Like they're saying their AI can actually do things, like edit orders or update shipping information, not just answer questions.
It's definitely a step beyond your typical chatbot experience. Instead of just giving information, they're aiming for their AI to actually integrate with your systems and take actions in real time, like it's an extension of your team, handling those little tasks that would normally eat up your time.
Okay, that makes sense. But how does the AI know what actions to take? Is there like a human behind the scenes making those decisions? Or is it really doing it on its own?
Well, Gorgias really emphasizes the importance of integration here. By connecting with platforms like Shopify Loop Returns and Recharge, the AI can access real-time data about your customers, their orders, even their preferences.
So it's not just about pre-programmed responses then. It's about using data to make decisions on the fly. That's pretty impressive. But it does make you think about data privacy and security.
Yeah, that's definitely something to consider. As we're giving AI more and more responsibility, we need to make sure our data is being handled properly and ethically. But let's put that aside for a minute and focus on how Gorgias' AI actually learns and adapts.
They keep talking about machine learning. But I'm not sure I fully understand what that means. Can you break it down for us?
Imagine you're teaching a child how to ride a bike. You give them some instructions, they try, they fall, they get back up, and eventually they learn from their mistakes. Machine learning is kind of like that. You feed the AI a ton of data, and it uses algorithms to find patterns and make predictions.
So the more data you feed it, the smarter it gets.
Exactly. And the key here is that the AI is always learning and getting better. It's like a virtual apprentice that's eager to learn new things.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. But how do they make sure the AI is learning the right things and not making costly mistakes?
That's where human oversight and quality control come in. They talk about this AI-powered quality review process. It involves both automated checks and human review to make sure that the AI's responses are accurate, appropriate, and aligned with your brand's voice.
So it's not completely hands-off. There's still humans involved,
Huh.
making sure the AI stays on track. But how do they balance that human oversight with the need for speed and efficiency? Because one of the main benefits of AI is supposed to be that it can work faster than humans.
It's definitely a balancing act. It seems like Gorgias is going for a hybrid approach,
Yeah.
where AI handles most of the routine stuff, and that frees up humans to focus on the more complex issues. or the ones that require empathy and judgment.
Okay, so it's not about replacing humans entirely. It's about finding the right way to divide the work. But one thing I'm still curious about is this whole human-like interaction thing. Can an AI really sound like a real person? Or is that just marketing hype?
Well, Gorgias is really pushing what they call empathetic and brand-aligned AI. They say their AI can be fine-tuned to match your brand's unique voice and tone, so every interaction feels authentic and consistent.
So they can create an AI that sounds like it's actually part of my team, not just some generic bot.
Hmm.
But how do they do that? Is it just about using the right words?
So,
Or
yeah.
is there more to it?
It's a combination of things: natural language processing, sentiment analysis, and really understanding how your brand communicates. They say their AI can analyze past customer interactions and learn to mimic your tone, your vocabulary, even your sense of humor.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. It sounds like they're trying to create an AI that can connect with customers on an emotional level, not just a transactional one. But how do they know if it's working? Do they have any way to measure how human-like their AI is?
That's a great question. It's one thing to say your AI is empathetic and human-like, but it's another thing to actually prove it. Gorgias points to their high customer satisfaction scores as evidence that their AI is doing a good job. But we always need to look beyond the marketing claims and see if the data really supports that.
You're right, we need to be critical. And not just take their word for it, but even if their AI can mimic human conversation. Is that enough to create a truly personalized customer experience?
That's where personalized responses come in. They're saying their AI uses integrations to provide tailored answers that are relevant to each specific customer. So it's not just about sounding human, it's about understanding each customer's individual needs and preferences.
So how do they gather that information? Are they tracking our every move online?
Well, that's where things can get a little tricky ethically. The more data an AI has access to, the more personalized its responses can be. But there's a balance between providing a tailored experience and respecting customer privacy.
It's a fine line for sure.
Yeah.
But let's say they are handling data responsibly. How does Gorgias' AI actually use this information to personalize the customer experience?
Well, they talk about the AI's ability to remember past interactions and use that context in future conversations. For example, if a customer had previously asked about a specific product, the AI could use that information to offer personalized recommendations or promotions.
It's like having a virtual assistant who remembers your conversations.
Ex-
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it does make you wonder about bias. If the AI is only learning from past interactions, could it end up perpetuating existing biases?
Yeah, that's a valid concern. It's something that AI developers need to be aware of, as we've seen with other AI applications. If the data used to train the AI is biased, then the AI's output will be biased too.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about the data behind it. It seems like there's a lot more to this AI thing than we realize.
Absolutely. It's a complex and rapidly evolving field with both huge potential and some significant risks. And as we've seen with Gorgias, the key is to approach AI with a healthy dose of skepticism, but also with curiosity, and always keep those ethical considerations in mind.
All right, so we've really gotten into the nitty-gritty of Gorgias and their AI platform. But before we wrap up, I think it's worth taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture here.
You're thinking about the broader impact of AI on the whole customer experience landscape.
Exactly. If Gorgias is really onto something, and AI can actually deliver on all these promises, personalized, efficient, even revenue-generating customer interactions, how could that change the future of e-commerce as a whole?
That's a really interesting question. One possibility is that AI could level the playing field a bit, allowing smaller businesses to compete more effectively with the e-commerce giants. Because traditionally, those really sophisticated customer service tools were often way too expensive or complicated for smaller companies to use.
Right, it makes sense. AI could make those tools more accessible, so smaller businesses could offer the same level of personalized service that used to be exclusive to those huge companies.
Exactly. Imagine a world where a tiny little boutique could offer the same level of personalized recommendations and proactive support as a massive corporation. That could really shake things up in the e-commerce world.
And beyond just the competition aspect, what about the overall customer experience? Could AI lead to a more customer-centric approach to online shopping in general?
It's definitely possible. As AI gets better at understanding what each individual customer wants and needs, we might see a shift away from that one-size-fits-all approach. That's so common in e-commerce right now. Instead of hitting everyone with the same generic marketing messages and recommendations, businesses could use AI to tailor their interactions to each customer's specific profile and purchase history.
It'd be like having a personal shopper for the digital world. No more wading through endless product pages or getting bombarded with recommendations that have nothing to do with what you're looking for. The AI could guide you directly to the things you actually need and want.
Exactly. AI could also help with some of those big pain points that people experience when shopping online. Think about those long wait times for customer support, or the headache of trying to figure out a complicated return process.
Oh man, I've spent way too much time on hold with customer service or struggling to understand a confusing return policy.
Right, well, imagine if AI could streamline all that, give you instant answers to your questions, or guide you through the return process step by step. It could make online shopping so much easier and less stressful.
That would be amazing. But what about the human element? I know some people are worried that AI will just end up replacing all the human customer service agents and make online shopping feel even more impersonal.
Yeah, that's a valid concern, and it's something we need to think about carefully. But I actually think it's more likely that AI will enhance human capabilities rather than replace humans altogether. It's more about collaboration. AI can handle the routine stuff, and that frees up humans to focus on those more complex or emotionally sensitive interactions that really require a human touch.
So instead of replacing humans, AI would actually empower them to provide better service.
Exactly. Imagine a world where AI handles all those basic inquiries, like checking on order status or processing returns. And human agents are there to provide expert advice, troubleshoot those really tricky issues, and build real relationships with customers.
That sounds like the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
But even if AI doesn't completely replace human jobs, it's still going to change the nature of those jobs, right?
Absolutely. As AI takes on more of those routine tasks, customer service roles are going to evolve. They'll need to focus more on skills like problem solving, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence.
It's all about adapting to the changes
Yeah.
and developing the skills that are going to be in high demand in an AI-powered future.
Exactly. The key is to embrace what AI can do, but also recognize its limits and make sure it's being used in a way that benefits everyone, both businesses and customers.
So to wrap things up, it sounds like AI has incredible potential to change the customer experience in e-commerce. But it's not a magic solution. It takes careful planning, thoughtful implementation,
Yeah.
and a commitment to ethical considerations.
Well said. And at the end of the day, the success of AI in customer experience is going to depend on how well we combine it with human expertise and empathy. It's about finding that balance between technology and humanity to create a truly personalized and enjoyable shopping experience.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking. Until next time, stay curious.